Hey folks, welcome back to Mark Kelly Farm. We're going to make those sugar cookies now that we promised you. They're fantastic, melt in your mouth cookies. You're going to love them. Before we get going though, I want to welcome our new subscribers. And if you recently subscribed, because over the past 3 or 4 days we're getting about 100 new subscribers per day. However, the way things are set up on YouTube, I don't see all of your names when you subscribe. Especially if you've made your profile private, your name doesn't actually pop up, you just come up in the numbers. So I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to do this because our channel is just exploding and we really love you guys and appreciate all the love you're sending out. And we're trying to still answer all the comments that we can. But there may be a point that we just can't get to all of them, but we're going to continue trying real hard. So our new subscribers, Angela Jones, Ginger Morrow, Jan Rivera, Lillian Hughes, Rhonda Filson, Lynn Breesy, Laura Daniels. Isn't there a famous Laura Daniels? I think there is. Oh Snap, it's Cassandra's mom. Love that one. Stacy Weiss or Weiss, I promise. Forgive me if I butcher your name. Sandy Lizakowski, Mary's Market, One Nice Nurse, love that one too, Kelly's a nurse, Dee Dee Nogueras, Lori Alvarez, Melinda Perez-Chili, Chile, what, something like that, welcome anyway, Coda Bear's Mom 2003, and Lily Camp. Welcome to our channel. We hope you enjoy the content. So let's get out making cookies. All right, Kelly's getting everything ready for our special sugar cookies. Your normal sugar cookies call for vegetable oil, but I mentioned in one of our other videos that Kelly likes using the coconut oil. Why do you prefer the coconut oil, babe?
I just like that it turns to a solid, so you can use it. You can use it in different recipes, whether you need a liquid or a solid.
So like anything that calls for shortening, you would use your coconut oil in?
Yep. And I like a little bit of a different flavor that it gives, and it's healthier, so.
Yeah, I do love the flavor that the coconut imparts into the recipes. Now, this recipe that we're sharing with you, a real good friend of mine, real friend of the family, she had a sweet, what's the word I'm looking for, the sugar cookie recipe, and it was an old-time Dutch recipe, and I begged and begged for that recipe, but she would never get it. She was sworn to secrecy by her mother-in-law, who is now passed, that it was a secret recipe and to never give it out. So I never got a hold of that recipe. And so I started looking around for recipes on the internet and trying different recipes because I wanted that recipe so bad. They actually just kind of melt in your mouth. You put them in your mouth and you just chew them a couple times and they just kind of melt away in your mouth and disappear. It's an amazing texture. So Kelly finally found a recipe that was just crazy good. It was Amish sugar cookie. And we put our own little spin on them because I found out years ago that there are certain types of lavender that's edible. So I added lavender to my sugar cookies one time and just fell in love with it. And if you've never had lavender sugar cookies, you really need to try it. Now, I originally went out to a lavender farm that was near us when we lived out in California. And they're the ones that explained to me the different kinds of lavender, the edibles and non-edibles, stuff like that. And if you go do that, let your nose do the talking, because not all edible lavenders are equal. I found one that was just very, very pleasing smell, and the smell kind of goes right along with the taste with the lavender. So if you're going to choose what type of edible lavender you want to use, make sure it smells really good. And I can't tell you I don't remember what the variety's name was of the lavender, but yeah, your nose will tell you when you're ready. All right, Kelly's preheating the oven to 375, and she's got her coconut oil measured out. And I'm assuming, like with any cookie recipe, you're going to cream your butter with your sugar, right, babe?
Yep, the butter, oil, and sugars go first.
Okay, butter, oil, and sugar. So she's going to dump that all in our KitchenAid there. So we have one of the older KitchenAids, and even if you have one of the older ones, you can find this scraper beater that actually cleans the side of the bowl. If you've ever used the KitchenAid without it, you know the bowl doesn't get very clean unless you're making bread. You got to kind of scrape it down all the time. But make sure you know the model and capacity of your mixer before you order that, because the spatula before this one I ordered the wrong size. All right, to the coconut oil and the butter, Kelly has added 1 cup of sugar, and now she's going to cream that together. And those sugar crystals are going to help cut that fat in the butter down in the bowl. You see it'll start to come apart, and that sugar will start cutting that stuff up. Most of your cookie recipes, you have to cream your sugar. So once that gets creamed well, we're going to add 2 eggs, and because they're farm fresh eggs, we crack them into another container because you never know what kind of surprises you're going to get with farm fresh eggs. So we're almost creamed in there. You can see it looks pretty good. All right, she's dumping her eggs in the mix. You got the mixer on like number 2, or what do you got it on?
It's just on the stir right now.
The stir setting, which is I think just below number 2. Did you do 1 egg at a time or just both together?
I did 1. Wait till it's incorporated and then add the second one.
Gotcha. That's generally what I do too. Love having Kelly home. So I see you got your vanilla out. How much vanilla is this going to take?
I think it's a tablespoon. No, a teaspoon.
Teaspoon of vanilla. And this is Kelly's homemade vanilla that she made. So she's still scraping down the sides of the bowl a little bit. Alright, she's got the eggs in. She turned it up to speed number 2. And if you go a little bit faster, if stuff starts sticking to your beater, if you go a little faster, it'll sling it off of the beater. So she's adding her vanilla. And what's next?
Next is adding the dry ingredients. I need to get a bowl.
She's going to get our favorite bowl and start adding dry ingredients. While Kelly's getting the dry ingredients together, I'll show you our lavender. We keep it in one of our little spice tins. That's what the lavender looks like. It's just the flower. So once your flower pops up on your plant, before it opens up completely, when it's kind of still in the bud stage of all the little tiny flowers, that's when you want to pick them, and then you strip them off of the little central stem and then let them dry. You don't want them to get moldy in here. And then just put them in a nice airtight container in a dark cupboard. So our mixture is pretty well combined. Now she's adding 1 cup of confectioner sugar, powdered sugar, and going to incorporate that a little bit. I think she's trying to get it on low because she doesn't want that sugar to fly out. Anytime you put powdery stuff in there, you got to be careful because it'll puff it out all over the counter. Now, if you were wondering, we have that little thing that goes on the bowl that's got the little chute, but it's kind of worthless. I don't use it very much. Kelly doesn't like it either. A lot of times I'll just use one of these little Pampered Chef flexible cutting boards and then put my stuff on it and then put it in that way. It works really well. So Kelly's mixing the dry ingredients. She's got 4.5 cups of AP flour, all-purpose, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar. It's not tart or soft. It's the white powdery stuff. Kelly cooks like I do. If something calls for a teaspoon and she's got a half a teaspoon out, she'll just use the same spoon. And if she's got a cup out, it calls for a half a cup, she just kind of eyeballs half of the cup instead of dirtying up 3 different spoons and 3 different cups. So she's combining all of her dry ingredients now. Now Kelly doesn't always agree with me on this point. This is a liquid measuring cup, and this is a dry ingredient measuring cup. You never want to measure dry ingredients in one of these. You can, but this is supposed to be made for like liquid self-levels itself, where if you put dry ingredients in there, you got to kind of guess where your level is. Whereas these, you fill them completely full, and then you can scrape the top of them off with a knife, and you got your exact measurement. Alright, she's incorporating her dry ingredients into the wet ingredients now, about a cup at a time, until she gets it all incorporated. And then she adds, once she's all done, she'll add the lavender. How much lavender are you putting in that mix, babe?
I usually don't measure it. I just put it in until it seems like it's enough for the batter that you see the speckles, kind of like chocolate chips and cookies.
Okay. Do it to taste. Lavender can get bitter if you use way too much.
Definitely underestimate.
I'll kind of guess when she puts it in how much she puts in, so you'll have kind of a starting point. Or maybe there's a lavender cookie dough recipe online. You could maybe look up and see how much they use. I'm guessing about a half a teaspoon maybe, but we'll see. Alright, she's got it all incorporated. She's just making sure it's coming together and we don't have any loose flour anywhere. We always wish we had the bigger KitchenAid, because the old one we had worked a lot better than this new one. That's why we like to keep old appliances, because they always work better. This one seems like it's got a lot less power, and there's definitely not enough room in the bowl. We wish we would have got like the 6-quart one or something like that. Alright, Kelly's already put a half a teaspoon of lavender in. She said it looks like it needs a little bit more. So she's putting another half a teaspoon for a total of 1 teaspoon so far. And we'll make sure that we taste one of these cookies when we're done, because you know, we just have to, so we know what we're talking about when we tell you how it tastes. Well, we love you guys that much. We'll do that for you. Alright, she's going to scrape it all down. I'm going to get the cookie sheets out for her and the parchment paper. So I've got the cookie sheets out for Kelly. We absolutely love these industrial type half sheet pans. They make full sheet pans, but they don't fit in a lot of ovens. I don't think they'd fit in ours. But if they do, that would be fantastic, is to have the full sheet pans. You could do a lot more. But we have 4 of these, and we use pretty much all of them every time we bake. And then these pre-cut parchment papers are fantastic. You can find them on Amazon. Make sure they're the right size. These are the half sheet size. Some of them are a tan color. These were the white colors. But we're going to start scooping these babies out. So Kelly's going to use the number 40 disher. We have all color coded. That's the purple one. We have the 20, 30, and the 40. It's a good set to have. Alright, she's dishing them out on our parchment. Looks like she's going to do 20 per sheet. And we'll get these babies in the oven. How long will they cook for, do you know?
I forget. 8 to 10 minutes until lightly brown.
8 to 10 minutes until lightly brown.
And even with the coconut oil, they don't spread, so you can even do them tighter if you wanted to.
Oh, cool.
They don't spread very much.
Some people with their sugar cookies like them a little bit drier, and some people like them a little chewier. So cook them to your liking. These, when they're a little drier, they just kind of just disappear in your mouth. They're amazing. Kind of like a shortbread cookie. If you've ever had a really fantastic shortbread cookie, they kind of melt in your mouth. Now the reason we like to have so many pans is if you didn't have enough, you'd have to reset the cookies on a hot pan, and that causes the cookies to spread out a lot further. So we like putting them on a cool pan. So by the time you've cooked 4 batches of cookies, that first pan is pretty well cooled down. You can reload it if you need to. I don't even know if we're going to need all 4 pans with this recipe, but we'll find out. All right, I'll give you a shot of this recipe so you can pause the video if you want a copy of any of this info down. But there's your ingredients.
You can search Pinterest by that name too.
Right there. Yeah, Kelly said she got this off of Pinterest, so if you want to Pinterest search the Amish sugar cookie recipe. And then you saw pretty much what we did for the directions, but that's the directions there. In they go. Now, do you cook them on a double layer like that?
I do.
And do you rotate them like halfway?
Sometimes. This time I probably will, since I didn't notice that the shelves were so close together.
Okay. Well, we've used all 4 cookie sheets. However, the last one is not full. And if you wanted to get a little more Christmassy, you get some of your Christmas little sugar sprinkles and put on your cookies. If you want them to be a little more festive. Now, Kelly, one time when we were in Maui, we found some coconut sugar. The large crystal sugar, I forget what they call that stuff. But it was coconut flavored sugar, and she used that on these cookies one time. Wow, that was to die for. And she said you can make your own coconut sugar by putting like a little bunch of coconut, like in a cheesecloth or something, and putting it down into a little container of sugar. And that sugar will slowly take on that coconut flavor. You can make your own coconut sugar, but use those larger crystals of sugar. So at about 4 minutes, Kelly rotated those pans top to bottom. Probably spun them around too. But she's already thinking they need to go just a little bit longer. This oven, every oven's different, so you need to go by however your oven cooks. Now, if you're worried about using the coconut oil that's kind of a solid texture instead of the liquid vegetable oil, it melts at a fairly low temperature. What temperature does your oil melt at, babe?
77 degrees.
So at about 77 degrees, that oil turns right back into a liquid. And
no, the solid turns to a liquid.
Oh, the solid turns to the liquid. So you don't really have to worry about it being solid. And it worked really well in the pie crust the other day. It made for a super flaky pie. Brandy found some scrapped cookie dough on the ground. Apparently she liked it. It didn't last long. Huh, Brandy? Look at those perfect little beauties. Gorgeous cookies. We ended up separating those racks a little bit because they were a little too close. But we came out to about 13 minutes on this oven. So start at about 10 minutes or so, 8 to 10 minutes, and just kind of check them. They're not quite brown, but you can see around the edges a little bit. You can see a little bit of brown. It's kind of like we like them. So just beautiful, beautiful, perfect little cookies, babe. Good job. So Kelly's transferring them to our cooling rack. How long are you waiting for that, babe?
Just a couple of minutes until they firm up enough where you're not destroying them by trying to pick them up with a spatula.
Okay.
So they still stay pretty soft until they completely cool.
Gotcha. Sure do look pretty. Boy, I wish you could smell it in the kitchen right now. They say the old school cooks used to tell when things were done when you could smell it. And it smelled like what it was supposed to be. And it kind of works out that way, I've noticed. Looking good. All right, we got 40 cookies. Kelly busted out her other cooling racks. These are actually stackable. I think we got those from Pampered Chef. If you're looking for any of the Pampered Chef products that we use here on the channel, my cousin Holly Bumgarner sells Pampered Chef, and she can do a virtual party for you if you want any of this stuff. She's really good about getting you the most you can for your money. But we'll post the link to her contact in the description. Now you can see those cookies, we put the sugar crystals on top. And normally your sugar cookies, people will put just standard sugar or the really coarse sugar on top of the cookies before they bake them to add a little more sweetness. But to cut down a little bit on the sugar, we leave these plain because they're really tasty just like they are. But if you like the traditional sugar cookie with the sugar on top, by all means add the coarse sugar on top for that little extra crunch and a little extra sweetness. All right, our last batch came out. They're taking, what, right about 15 minutes, babe?
Yeah.
So right at 15 minutes in our oven. Again, check out your first batch in your oven. Here's our little more festive ones with the green and red sugar crystals on top. Pretty cool looking, huh? We can leave those for Santa. Santa will eat those up. So we came out with 73 cookies. So because I don't want to leave you guys astray, and that's an odd number, we're going to make it 72 cookies here real quick. Still almost warm. Oh, wow. That little bit of hint of lavender in the background and the way that cookie just melts away in your mouth is just phenomenal. Great job, babe.
Thank you.
So, really good recipe. You'll want to give that a try. Do you like my new hat? You too can have one of these hats. You go down to your John Deere dealer. This hat costs $37,000, but it comes with a free tractor, so it's not a bad deal. So, we loved having Kelly here with us today. She's still wearing her little reindeer hat on there. So we're going to let you go. Hope you enjoyed our video. Hope you enjoy our cookies. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. We love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
I'm going to get me some sugar. Love you.